Hello everyone, welcome to Infigon Talks. My name is Shubham and I'll be the host for today's interview. So Infigon Talks is a part of Infigon Future's flagship program where mentors from various institutes motivate and inspire aspiring students across the country. So today we have Mr. Suraj Singh, who is currently pursuing his BA in Hindi at Hindu College, University of Delhi. He's not only a student right now, but is also an entrepreneur and an author at such a young age, who also enjoys framing poems as well. Hello, Mr. Suraj. Welcome to Infigon
Hello,
Talks.
everyone. Yeah, thank you for having me here. Good to hear.
Okay. We are honored and excited to have you here with us. So let's dive into the questions right away. Okay? Okay. So firstly, as your career started in the pandemic period, what exactly were the difficulties faced by you and how did you overcome those?
Yeah, as many of the people like whose career of college, whose classes of colleges started in the pandemic, the same is the case of mine. Whose uh, every classes is even I have not seen the face of the college, not even the class. What is my class? Even I don't know right now. Just like everybody of the 2023 batch of colleges, they are just facing the same issue, having just the online classes just continuously to- today, tomorrow, like everything. This is going and continually, this is exactly happening. So there was many sort of problems like the physical interaction that could happen, the physical talking, and the environment that you would get in the college. This is just lacking here in the online environment. Maybe not the academic aspect, but the overall personality development and overall developmental aspect is getting hindered. So this was the issue, and there is no any substitute. Actually, was asking what the solution I have got for the academic source. Like everybody had got the solution from the YouTube, from many other sources. But the personal development and the environmental aspects, it cannot be substituted.
Yeah, great. As you said, we all have learned a thing or two from this pandemic. Great, great. Okay. So moving on to the next question, you also founded a new venture very recently. If I'm not mistaken, it is called Greenista, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So could you tell something about it, like what exactly it does and what made you start it during the pandemic?
Like the name of the startup is Greenista. GRIN, Green means smile, and Greenista.
Oh,
Like they like in pandemic we have realized that there are something we have realized many things, like from the health issues, from the online shifting of institutions, like many things we have learned, like the sanitation and the hygiene of our houses. Many things we have learned just because of this pandemic. This the thing which could be postponed, maybe you can call to 2025 or 2026, it has just preponed. Like it has already happened in 2020, like the online adaptation and the health freakness of people. So the Greenista is all about, as its tagline also says, the green of health and sustainability. It mainly focuses on the health of the people, the health of the earth, mainly health and the sustainability aspect. It is with ambition. The whole startup is just with the ambition to make the whole thing, each and everything that we use in our whole life, to be more and better sustainably to the planet, to our earth, so that we can leave a better future for our future generation. This is the simple motto of this, and this was all started in this pandemic a month back. We are all
okay.
working on it to make it move.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's really inspirational and looks like this pandemic has been a boon to you in a way. Great. So moving on to the next question. There's also a book you published, Kyo Dasta Khoj Ki, which has a classic collection of poems. So what made you compile this classical collection of poems, which by the way got a very good response out there, right? And when did you realize that you have this love for poems?
Like the writing of the poem has already started while I was in class 9. It has started from the language of English, from English literature, because it was my English teacher who has ignited the writing of poem. Like he has insisted every student of that class, that particular class, to write a poem on something, a particular topic. So that compelled me to write my first poem. That was my first poem. It was in English, and some of the 3 4 poems went in English. But suddenly, when I had left class 10th, so there was a departure. So there was a shifting and the displacement of all the students studying together. So this caused some aspects of expression, some aspects of experience within me uh, that insisted that something which is inside me should be out in the form of words. So that was my first poem in Hindi, which insisted the departure of students. School ki yaad like this, Vidyalaya ke din it was titled. This was my first poem, and everything like poem to everything like entrepreneurship. If you take the example of, and the poem you take the example of, everything has just the similar aspect of its beginning. In the depth, both the things are same. Just this sheer observation of the person is the only thing that is responsible for either writing a poem, either doing a startup. Everything that you do, the in the depth of that thing is the sheer observation and experience. So there was no any clash between the writing of the poem. I mean the difference of sector.
Mhm.
Like if you take up, there is not any sort of in the depth. Both the things are same. Both are just standing on the same base of observation, like this in the depth.
Okay, okay, great input. It clearly shows actually how one could be professional enough for their careers as well and still give time to their hobbies. Great. So my next question is, what made you choose to pursue BA in Hindi? Like, was it always your choice, or were you inspired by someone?
Like as I have already told that my Hindi poetry journey has started after class 10th, not the
Mhm.
English one I'm talking about. So while I was writing, it was surely based on observation. What I had observed, I just put into words, and whatever my word vocabulary and its words diaspora was, I had just put all this in the form of poetry. Like every thing that I have observed, I tried to put in the form of experience or in the form of words, uh, infer from the experience. So while I was writing poetry, it was all good because the main thing needed for the poetry or anything like that is the observation. I was perfectly fine with that. But there is something like if Newton has discovered something like 1 2 3 laws of his, and if someone is trying to get into like scientific fields like of particular that field, so it must be it is wise and quite fine that he should first study Newton, and after that, over his observations and over his experiences, he should be standing ahead and going going above. So this was the main
Mhm.
basic reason. So I chose Hindi. So that I could study more of the famous poets, more of the renowned creators like whose writings have won very vivid response from the people, understanding them. Like this was the basic reason for taking this. Also with Hindi, I have political science as minor.
Okay, okay, that's great, and it has been working really great for you so far. So it's amazing to hear. Good. Now you've been doing a lot of things together. Like you've been an entrepreneur. You have also written a book. You're an author, and you are also a student right now. So could you tell us how do you manage your time while juggling everything at the same time?
As I had already told that there is nothing like clash between all these things. In the its utmost depth, there is one common thing is there, and that is the observation. In entrepreneurship, if you talk, what is necessary is observation. You are observing what is the problem and what need to be solved. While writing poetry, you are observing something and putting that experience in form of words. And while studying, observation is must. We all know. So there is nothing like that of clash between all these three schedules or many of the schedules if they are very common and very similar in its depth.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That is really encouraging, I must say, for the viewers. Finally, coming to our last question, what message and tips would you like to give to the aspiring students, who happen to have interest in Hindi?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
who might have interest in Hindi, it's perfectly fine to pursue anything that you want to excel in. It might be Hindi literature or English literature or some else subject. So it may be your music passion, it may be your writing or poetry or being an author, it may be your aspiration to be like that. So it's better to pursue anything that you desire for. There is nothing like that. If I pursue Hindi, there is everything blocked for me. If I am pursuing English, there is everything blocked for me. There is nothing like that. If I am pursuing political science, there is all the things else. Political science is blocked for me. Everything is just open. Yeah, it is possible that it may take time for some. It may take some year or more to explore into some different fields, but it can happen. Science, I cannot study economics, so all the basic thing that whatever you choose, the first most priority of yours should be the self-learning aspect of yours should be quite high, and it is the only thing which is going to make you higher in everything in your life or anything else too. So the self-learning is the keyword if you want to
Okay.
underline.
Okay.
Yeah.
So viewers, we are taking away self-learning as a keyword from this interview, and a lot of important points as well. Everything was so fine, and you just explained each and every question so perfectly. And I'm sure this will surely help everyone watching us. Thank you so much, Suraj, for taking out your time and sharing your thoughts with us. It is indeed a pleasure to have you here as a student mentor. Here we conclude our session with this. See
Thank
you
you so
next
much.
time with another thrilling interview. Until then, for what it's worth, drop a like, share, and subscribe to Infigon Futures. Thank you so much.